What's up, cousins? Welcome back to another episode of the new era of Melanin Mysteries. And if you are new here, my name is Tiffany, aka Detective Lightskin, but around here, most people just call me T. I'm your favorite cousin, your true crime homegirl, your professional rabbit hole diver, and the host of one of the Black true crime podcasts you didn't know you needed in your life. And if this is your very first episode, baby, let me give you an extra special welcome. Pull up a chair, grab your drink, get comfortable, and come on in. We family over here. The cookout is always open and there's always room for one more cousin. But before you get a little bit too comfortable, let me give you a disclaimer because some of y'all found me by accident and I really believe in transparency because this is not the first 48. I'm not going to sit here and read police reports in a monotone voice for an hour. That's not what we do over here. I'm animated. I'm going to talk a little shit. We going to laugh. We going to kiki because we have opinions around these parts. And sometimes the criminals make decisions so ridiculous that all you can do is stare at the wall and ask yourself, what in the fresh hell is going on here? We always respect the victims and their families, but if you're looking for a robotic play-by-play with zero personality, baby, you may not want to stick around because this probably ain't your vibe. And that's okay. But if that sounds like a good time to you, welcome, cousin, because you are in the right place. Now, to my day ones, my OG cousins, my people, my faves, thank y'all for rocking with me week after week. And that means whether you've been here since episode 1 or you found me somewhere in the middle, I appreciate every single listen, comment, share, DM, review, and conversation. Y'all have all truly helped build this community into something so special. And speaking of special, did everybody enjoy the very first episode of Hot Garbage Mysteries? It's the cute little limited series between Hot Garbage True Crime and yours truly. Now, listen, if you missed it, all you got to do is go subscribe. And don't forget the video portions are coming soon because, like I told y'all, VIP got perks, boo. VIP members get ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, One Bad Night, the Cousin Confessions, which is strictly behind the paywall, bonus content, exclusive drops, and so much more. So if you've been thinking about joining the family reunion section of Melanin Mysteries, now is the perfect time. Available on Apple and Spotify. All you got to do is click. So simple. And cousins, I know I say this every single week, but I'm going to say it again because it is so important. Please leave a review. And before somebody try and get cute, 5 stars only. Thank you. And if you have a grievance, a concern, complaint, suggestion, critique, issue, disagreement, or if your spirit just feels burdened, please feel free to reach out to me directly because those reviews and comments really help more than you know. Seriously. A lot of people don't even realize that Black true crime is a thing. And even fewer realize that there are actual Black true crime podcasts out here putting in work week after week. These platforms do not push independent creators unless you're operating on a massive scale. So we really depend on y'all, the listeners, the cousins, the family. So every review, comment, share, every emoji, it all helps. And while y'all are supporting me, support my family too. So I want y'all to go check out Cocktails and Crime with Divine, Not My Brother's Keeper with King Arthur, Bitch I Can't Podcast with Anthony, Tipsy Tales with T, Hot Garbage True Crime with Nisha, and Melanin Mayhem with my boo Renee. And there are so many more amazing Black creators out there that are doing incredible work. Just because I didn't say their name, that does not mean they don't exist. Because if you ever tried like searching for Black true crime podcasts, and you already know finding us is like trying to find a specific rhinestone that fell on the floor. And it shouldn't be that hard. So spread the word, run our numbers up, tell a friend, post us on Facebook, send an episode to your messy cousin, drop an emoji because it all helps. And while we're out here talking about supporting your favorite cousin, don't forget to check out the brand new website, melaninmysteries.com. You can submit cousin confessions, send case suggestions, keep up with upcoming events, and connect with me directly when I remember. And speaking of upcoming events, Essence Fest is coming up next month, and I cannot believe we are already here because July 1st marks 2 years of your favorite cousin, and I will be outside introducing new people to the family, spreading the word about the podcast, and inviting even more cousins to the cookout. Now, lastly, before we go ahead and jump into this case, this week's vibe check is Ja Rule, Down Ass Bitch featuring Charlie Baltimore. That used to be my, I went through a whole Ja Rule stage. But when the episode is over, let me know if the song passed the vibe check or if you would have chosen something different. So let's go ahead and get into this week's case. And let me tell y'all something. This case almost took me out. Because what started as just one case, it turned into two. And every time I thought I understood what was happening, here come another layer. And the backstory was so freaking insane. I ended up falling down an entire rabbit hole and I had to know every detail of what happened. But the journey was so worth it. So, anyway, this week we're talking about Chicwanda Forbes and Curtis Kyles. And please forgive me with this girl's name because I want to call her Chicwanda because that's how her name is spelled. It's spelled Chic and then Wanda. Who did that to that girl? Why they do that? But anyway, what starts as a relationship between a young woman and an older man, a violent man, quickly spirals into kidnapping, betrayal, murder, and a chain of events so unbelievable that at several points I had to stop reading and ask myself, now who in the fuck thought this was just a good idea? Let me pause, get myself together. Okay. Cousins, this isn't a story about just doing something for your man. This is a story about how far somebody will go for love, loyalty, fear, manipulation, obsession, or maybe all five at the same damn time. And when we finally get into the backstory, you're going to realize the murder isn't even the craziest part. The craziest part is what happened years before it. So go ahead, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, and get comfortable because, baby, this one is a ride. So, cousins, let me tell y'all what had happened. I thought I was in love. I thought I was helping my man. I thought I knew who Curtis Kyles was. Turns out, I ain't know a damn thing. Oh, okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So, this whole story, it starts in Algiers, Louisiana, and we are taking it back to June 10th, 2010. Now, look, this is how the story goes. So, we shot Chicwanda and her boo thing Curtis. And first of all, this is already a mess up situation before we even get started. So, let me give y'all a little backstory. So, apparently, Curtis sold crack in 2010. Thought it was fading by then, but maybe it wasn't. And Curtis decided it would be a good idea to lay up with a crackhead. Now, cousins, y'all know ain't nothing good ever started with a sentence. So this crack dealer and this crackhead, never. Not one thing. Now, the how, what, why, and when of their relationship, I can't really tell y'all that because I don't really know. But what I can tell you is that Curtis, he knew this lady named Crystal St. Pierre. Now, according to For My Man, Crystal was struggling with addiction. Whether it was crack or something else, I don't even know. And honestly, by the end of the story, that's gonna be the least crazy part. Now, y'all know one of the oldest hustle in the books is folks selling their food stamps. Food is a necessity, but don't nobody really want to spend their own money on food if they can get a deal. So if somebody get a food stamp hookup, somebody is always interested. And before somebody start clutching their pearls, talking about, oh my God, it's illegal, please save it, please. Mind the business at patient. Because we got bigger problems in this story than somebody selling some food stamps, okay? Now, allegedly, Crystal had about $300 worth of food stamps available. And it was said that Curtis gave her the money for the card. Now, back in the day, the going rate was usually about 50 cents on a dollar. Again, mind your business as to why I know that. And anyway, Curtis gets the car, right? He and his little crackhead boo thing, they hop in the car and they head over to Winn-Dixie. And baby, they loaded that car up. I'm talking, they had all the good snacks, the name brand cereals. They had Oscar Mayer lunch meat, the frozen pieces, probably every little thing that they've been craving. And in my day voice, they had all the good snacks. Them 2000 snacks. So anyway, they get to the register. Everything gets scanned. The cashier gives them a total. Curtis go to swipe the card. And y'all, he put the pen in. And it was like declined. And he's like, okay, maybe I did that wrong. Let me try one more time. Declined. Baby, why that pen ain't working? And when I tell y'all Curtis was hot, I mean, this man was 38 hot, had the steam coming out his ears, face was all red like a cartoon. This man get the pacing inside the middle of Winn-Dixie, just hot as hell. And this man, so he pull out his phone, he start calling Crystal. Hey, come, hey, something, you trying to figure out what's going on. Like, I'm standing here, I ain't trying to be embarrassing this stuff. This card ain't working. Her phone going straight to voicemail. She ain't answering. Now, I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself on maybe why she wasn't answering. Maybe she was in the shower. Maybe Mercury was in retrograde. Who knows? But what I do know is Curtis was in Winn-Dixie spiraling, okay? spiraling like a notebook in my Anthony voice. So him and Chicwanda leave that whole cart sitting right there in the store and head back to the apartment complex. Y'all ever had that happen? It's embarrassing as hell. It is. Shit happens. You forget your card locked. You be like, oh shit, my car. I forgot to unlock my car. Like you be like, I got money. Let me just unlock my car. Y'all know how that goes. So you know how sometimes shit just don't be working right, and it's embarrassing as hell. But Curtis, he want answers, and he want answers right now. And since Crystal ain't answering the phone, y'all, this is where the story just it goes to hell from here. So see, Crystal, she actually was over at the apartment manager's apartment where they all live. And Miss Manager Lady, her name was Lavelle Davis. And coincidentally, she lived just a few doors down from Curtis, right? So Curtis, he done drove like a bat out of hell back to the apartments, and he marches over to her door and he started beating on that door. Not knocking, beating like somebody owed him rent. Or maybe like he had a search warrant. That man was about to kick the whole goddamn door in. That's how mad he was. And I get it. You embarrassed, you mad, but you want to calm down a little bit? No? Okay, sir. Go off. So Lavelle opened the door like, what the hell wrong with you? And before she can even get her bearings, Curtis is standing there talking about where that bitch at. Ooh. Oh, sir, you're on 10. I need you to bring this down to a hot 2. And I know this man's eyes had to be bugging up out his head. And I know this man's blood pressure through the roof, about to stroke out over some damn food. Because Lavelle was like, okay, so something ain't right. But Crystal, she see, she trying to keep the peace. She like, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got this. I handle it. Sorry to bring all this drama to your door. You know how that go. So she like, I'm just gonna go outside and see what this man want. Let me tell y'all something. Crystal barely get through that doorway before, blow! Here comes Chicwanda. Done punch this girl square in the face. No conversation, no explanation. No, hey girl, what's going on? Just immediate violence. Just immediate violence. And once that first punch lands, baby, all hell about to break loose. Now, Chicwanda, she grabbed Crystal by her hair and they start dragging this lady down the stair. Do we understand that this is over a declined food stamp card? Why have we taken the whole situation to hell? Why has it escalated this quickly over a declined food stamp card? Y'all ain't even asked the lady, like, hey, the card ain't working. Can we verify the pin? Hey, can you run back to the store with us to go get to go get my cart? My cart's still sitting at the store. Can you run back with us and we can figure this out? No, these fools just escalate straight to violence. Like they are dragging this lady down the stairs while simultaneously punching her, hitting her, and beating on her. Like Curtis done lost his goddamn mind. This man over here screaming about his money, that she scammed him, and he want his money back. This is completely unhinged. Like I said, this could have been just a very simple, hey, come to the store with me, and can you go with me? Very simple. This could all have been just fixed. Very simple solution to the problem. Now, like I said, and like I said, this is what gets me is they never even gave this woman a chance to explain anything. Not maybe I wrote the pen down wrong, nothing. Now, Lavelle, she wasn't about to just stand here. She tried to help her friend and she tried to intervene. Baby Curtis lifted up his shirt and he had a gun and she was like, you know what? This ain't even my fight for real. Because a fight and an armed man are just two very different situations. And I can't say I'm not mad at sis. I get it. Ugh. That's a really hard spot to be in. And at that point, like I said, Lavelle, she's stuck because really, what are you supposed to do? You want to help and you need to help, but you also don't want to get shot in the middle of your apartment complex over somebody else's mess. And while Lavelle is trying to figure out what to do, Crystal is being dragged away. Now, cousins, Lavelle and Crystal, they weren't alone in that apartment. There was another man there too, and his name was Sheridan Flax. Now, according to reports, they were all sitting around having coffee. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But anyway, Sheridan was in the bathroom when all this craziness started, and he heard banging and yelling, and he said he heard some man outside losing his goddamn mind over some money. And his first thought, he thought about stepping in, but then he peeked out and he saw that gun too, and he was just like, you know what? A grown man acting like he done lost his last marble in a situation. That's above my pay grade. Baby Sheridan said, you know what? God bless everybody involved. And he closed that bathroom door. He sure did. Now, after Curtis and Chicwanda dragged Crystal outside, Sheridan, he peeking out a bedroom window. Let me tell you what this man saw because it was absolutely ridiculous. He watches Great Value Bonnie and Clyde trying to shove Crystal into a car. Matter of fact, let me call them what they really are. EBT Ike and Tina. Because ain't no goddamn way. Crystal is fighting, pulling, kicking, trying to get away, trying not to get in this man's car. And these two overgrown delinquents are wrestling with her in broad daylight like they got some sense. Now, at this point, cousins, we got to stop calling it a confrontation. We got to stop calling it an argument and let's stop calling it drama. This is a whole kidnapping. And the crazy part, it all started because somebody couldn't buy Fruit Loops. I need y'all to really sit with that. Somewhere, a cart full of groceries is still sitting abandoned in Winn-Dixie. And meanwhile, these fools have escalated all the way to felonies over some Apple Jacks. So eventually they get Crystal into the cart and they pull off. But Sheridan, he managed to get the license plate number and he immediately calls the police. Like, basically, like, look, officer, y'all got 2 community menaces out here snatching folks and acting like Fast and Furious food stamp edition. Meanwhile, Crystal is trapped in the car with these 2 idiots. And Curtis, his wide-eyed frog face ass is behind the wheel driving like somebody put cocaine in a Red Bull. Just hollering, hooping and hollering, threatening and sweating, talking about his money, he being played, and you ain't gonna disrespect me. Talking about everything except therapy. And like I said, we really gotta focus on something. This was not over $1 million. It was not over a drug empire. This was not over a stash house. This was over an EBT card, a food stamp card, a piece of plastic. And hold on, because maybe it's just me, but Curtis, ain't you supposed to be a drug dealer? Ain't that what we doing here? Sir, if you selling crack, shouldn't you have money? Or am I missing something? Is it me? Can y'all let me know if it's me? Because what do you mean you're out here running a whole criminal enterprise, but one declined EBT transaction got you acting like Wells Fargo done froze all your assets? What type of broke drug dealer behavior is this? So you mean to tell me your entire financial future was right on a food stamp card? Baby, your drug business sound like it needed a GoFundMe. Not this man turning into Scarface because the groceries wouldn't scan. Not this man acting like he got double crossed in a cartel operation because he couldn't buy some goddamn honey buns. Like, I can't. So anyway, Curtis, he keeps driving and he's just spiraling as he's driving. And he's threatening Crystal and he's telling her he's going to kill her. And the more this man talks, the more obvious it becomes that the elevator stopped making it to the top floor years ago. And eventually they end up in Jefferson Parish. Curtis pulls off into a field. He stops the car. He gets out and opens the back door. He tells Chicwanda to get out. And he grabs Crystal and pulls her out, forces this woman to her knees, pulls out a .38 revolver, and just shoots her in the head. This is broad daylight, mind you, over some groceries that never made it out the goddamn store. Afterwards, these 2 criminal mind rejects spend the next few hours driving around making phone calls like they didn't just destroy somebody's life and leave her in a field. And y'all know the police are probably on their ass because Sheridan then called the police and gave them a plate number. So they're looking for y'all dumbasses. So, oh my gosh. And y'all got hella witnesses. So at one point, Curtis, he calls his daughter. And she like, look, don't come to my house. Police already here. And baby, at that point, you know it's over. Because if your own child is basically saying absolutely not, don't bring your nonsense over here. The jig is up, and she knows something. You know you going down, sir. Now, allegedly, Chicwanda says she just wanted to go home after all this. Girl, you already committed the felony. Now you want to go home. You didn't think to go home beforehand? But Curtis wasn't having that shit. He was like, baby, you in this. We riding it. We riding together. We dying together. Bad boys for life. And instead of turning themselves in and, like, facing reality, instead of using what little common sense was left between the two of them, but then I have to realize, I also always pause when I say that because I have to realize that common sense, it's not common. The EBT Avengers decided they were going to go on the run. So they end up heading down to Bassville, Mississippi to stay with Curtis's son. And the fact that these two thought they were criminal masterminds when they couldn't even buy groceries successfully is absolutely sending me. So look, these two are down in Mississippi hiding out at, walk with me now, Curtis's son's baby mama's house. I'm sorry, his son's baby mama's house. I'm already exhausted because that's just too many relatives between me and the front door, but whatever. They're laying low because Curtis knows his wide-eyed fraud face ass is wanted. And honestly, everybody knows he's wanted except apparently Curtis. I don't know. He ain't too bright. Because the decisions that he makes after this suggest that nobody has ever accused this man of being a genius. And I'll get comfortable because they end up getting put out. And baby, if your emergency fugitive hideout gets tired of your ass, you know you are the problem. But before we get there, let's talk about the people involved because the story is so freaking messy. So we're going to go ahead and start with Crystal. She was born Crystal Nicole St. Pierre. She was born July 6, 1983 in Jackson, Mississippi. Her parents were Paul St. Pierre and Lois Robers. And she had siblings, James, Stephen, and Donna. And she looks like she played softball in high school. I found her in a little newspaper article. And most importantly, she had two children, Julian and Miracle. Now, what led her down a life of the crack spiral? I don't know. Whatever struggles Crystal was dealing with and whatever addiction she was battling, whatever mistake she made, none of that means she deserved to be executed in a field like a damn animal. Okay? None of it. So, let's move on to Chicwanda. Her background makes me really question or understand, was somebody thinking about Chick-fil-A when they named her? Because why is your name spelled like this? And who is Wanda? How does somebody get Chick and Wanda and put it together and then call it Chicwanda? I have so many questions and or concerns, and I would just like to know. But her story is complicated. The more I dug, the sadder I got because so first of all, I couldn't find her birthday. I know it's a couple reports said gave different ages. So it says she was 25 at the time that this all went down. So that would put her being born around, we were on the same age, around 1984, 1985, if that's correct. So the more I said, it was just really sad. Like everything I saw said her childhood was very unstable. It was filled with violence, drugs, and just chaos, like constant moving around. So I'm not sure if she was like in foster care or they were just her upbringing was just unstable. It doesn't say it. I'm not really sure. But it basically equates to the kind of environment where dysfunction becomes normal. And I did read that she dropped out of school in the 10th grade. She had arrests for theft, possession, charges, crack specifically, and prostitution. Basically, life had been stopping mud holes in her ass for years. And unfortunately, sometimes when chaos is all you've ever known, you end up mistaking further chaos for love. You thrive in dysfunction because that's all you know. Now, let's go ahead and move over to Curtis. I don't like that name. He going on that list of niggas I don't trust. Curtis is definitely up there with Ricardo, Tyrone. It's a whole lot. I'm gonna revisit that list. So Curtis Lee Kyles, this bubble-faced gremlin, this Timu kingpin, the bargain bin crime boss. This man was in his 50s, 51 to be exact at this time. And Chicwanda, she was in her mid-20s, like I said before. What business do you have hanging around somebody young enough to be your daughter? Because, like you said, he had grown kids. Because at your son's baby mama house, you got grown kids. I don't like it. Now, like I said, we know Curtis sold crack. Curtis controls the relationship. Curtis is calling the shots because when you're in a relationship with the addict and you're supplying the drugs, he who controls the drugs controls the relationship. So the whole thing sounds very manipulative to me. But this is where I fell into the damn rabbit hole because while I'm researching this fool, I found out something. Y'all, why was Curtis on death row for 11 years? I'll wait. Because that's exactly what I said. Death row for 11 years. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, Tiffany, how the hell do you go from death row to committing another murder? Now, that is the $1,000,000 question, because when I found that out, I immediately sat up in my chair like, now, hold on. This sounds so familiar. It sounds like Chewbacca and Mamie all over again. Not another criminal who somehow got a sequel. What is going on here? But trust me, we're going to get there. Because Curtis's backstory is freaking completely insane. But back to these two Wish version outlaws. Now, while Krakuls and Metheny are down in Mississippi arguing, hiding, and making everybody miserable, like I said, they had got put out of the son's baby mama's house. So impressive. But imagine being so annoyed that people take one look at you and say, you got to take your murder charge and get the fuck out. Mm-mm. So like I said, they had moved into somebody else's trailer across the street. Child, the ghetto in my Nene voice, because y'all know this is ghetto. Meanwhile, back in Louisiana, the police are moving, okay? June 11th, a contractor ends up discovering Crystal's body in that field where Captain Crunch and Metheny left her. Now, his name is Detective Barteet. He gets assigned to the case. But like we said, the police are already on to these fools because Crystal had been reported missing when Sheridan called the police. Witnesses had already described what happened. The bolo was already out. So everybody's looking for Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Now, when the investigators run the license plate, they had traced it back to Curtis's daughter. That was the daughter that called him and told him not to come over there because the police were looking for him, which tells me she had more common sense than everybody in this story combined. Now, on June 12th, the autopsy confirmed what everybody already pretty much knew. Crystal had been shot in the back of the head. They said there was bruising on her face from the beatings, and they recovered bullet fragments. So, of course, her death was ruled a homicide. On June 14th, Detective Barteet, he gets a phone call. An anonymous caller basically says, "Sir, you over here playing detective when the answer is sitting right over at Cedar Point Apartments with a woman named Lavelle." So Detective Barteet, he go make his way over to them Cedar Point Apartments. And Lavelle proceeds to unload the entire tea kettle. From the argument, the beating, the kidnapping, the gun, names, everything. She done ran it down like nobody business. Then she hands over Curtis's phone number. Baby, game over. Because once they got that phone number, these investigators followed Curtis's movements like they were tracking a DoorDash order. The phone, it was at Winn-Dixie. Then it was at the Cedar Point Apartments. Then it's headed towards Jefferson Parish. Then it's near the location where Crystal's body was found. So that phone basically snitched on him from beginning to end. And at that point, the FBI joins in. And when I saw the FBI show up, I said, hold on. What y'all ain't telling me about Curtis? Because the feds don't usually pop up because they're bored. Now, Special Agent William Williams, and whoever named that man that need they ass whipped, because why? Why? But anyway, he used a cell tower data to trace the phones, and the phone told, like I said, on Curtis every single step of the way. And then the Jefferson Parish investigators, they're matching tire tracks from the murder scene to the type of vehicle that Curtis driving. They got witnesses, cell phone evidence, tire evidence, a dead victim, and 2 fugitives with the combined brain power of a Pop-Tart. So after 4 days of hiding, Curtis's son drives these 2 escape room failures to a bank in Covington so they can cash a check. A check? Y'all is on the run and you're going to go into a bank with trying to catch a check. Never mind, Tiffany. You already combined intelligence with a Pop-Tart. Let's make it make sense. But that just means apparently Mr. Drug Dealer was still broke. Which brings me back to my original question. If you're selling crack, why you ain't got no money? What kind of financially struggling drug dealer operation is this? The man couldn't buy groceries. You can't stay hidden. You can't stay housed. You can't stay free. And now he need to check cash. And who is writing you a check? So many questions or concerns. This criminal enterprise sounds like it qualifies for government assistance. But anyway, when they get back from the bank, baby, the fugitive task force was already waiting. They was just waiting. Come on with us. Like, let's just go ahead and wrap this up. And they did say that they went there peacefully. And just like that, the team of terrorists were under arrest. Dumb as a box of rocks. Actually, never mind, because rocks are useful. These 2 were dumped as an unplugged air fryer. Now, baby, the second they got Chicwanda down to that station, child, she folded faster than a lawn chair at a family reunion. Ain't nobody threatening her. They ain't have to pressure this lady. Ain't nobody even to pull out no evidence. Baby, she came in there singing like the church choir was paying overtime. She was giving full Deborah from Diary Mad Black Woman. Thank you, Jesus. Like, remember when she came down the aisle at the end and she wanted to be redeemed and she wanted to get off crack? Oh, that was very much Chicwanda. And she told everything: the argument, the kidnapping, the fight, the ride, the field, the shooting, everything. And according to Chicwanda, Curtis was absolutely losing his goddamn mind over that $300 EBT card. And in reality, if he get okay, let me pull this back for just a second. Off sidebar. $300 on the EBT card. So if I'm giving you 50 cents on the dollar, that's $150. Even if he had given her $150 in crack in exchange, you crashed out and killed this lady over $150. Yes. So Chicwanda, she's admitted that she punched Crystal. She admitted that she helped force her into the car. She said she was there when everything happened, but she claimed that she did not want to run. Now, would she have turned herself into police? I highly doubt that, but she said she ain't want to run. She said that after the murder, she asked Curtis if he could just, drop her off. And according to her, that wide-eyed, fraud-faced menace told her absolutely not. Matter of fact, she said he threatened to kill her. And honestly, it tracks. Because, everything we heard about Curtis wasn't hard to believe. And according to Chicwanda, after he killed Crystal, they were driving around and Curtis took his shirt off, wrapped the gun up, handed it to her, and told him to throw it over a bridge. Now, sir, not only are you a murderer, baby, you lazy. You got somebody else doing your littering too? Pick a struggle. But Chicwanda said she stayed because she was scared. And she said he kept threatening her. He kept saying he didn't trust her and he was going to kill her. And apparently, like I said, things had got so bad when they were hiding out. That's why the son's baby mama's mama finally got sick of their shit and put their asses out. I'm sorry, that's just sending me. Because why would y'all didn't even have enough money to get. I would have just slept in my car. I would have, because I'm not about to be shacked up with my son's baby mama's mom. It's just too much. Everybody got to go. Pack your bag, take y'all warrants, and get the fuck out. Now, while these two Dollar Tree desperados are playing hide and seek, investigators are building a case. And when I tell y'all, those walls were closing in so fast, because they already have phone records, they had witnesses. Now they got Chiwanda's confession. And after the confession, they go back to that Winn-Dixie and they go pull the surveillance. They didn't search Curtis's apartment, and at his apartment, they found 38 caliber ammunition. Now remember, Crystal was killed with a 38 revolver. And then the autopsy revealed bullet fragments, and then the ballistic evidence matched the 38 caliber ammunition. So at this point, evidence is already stacking up. He done built a whole damn condo. Now Curtis, his ass suddenly became mute. Ain't that funny? Now he don't want to talk. He ain't got nothing to say. Now all that screaming and hooping and hollering from Winn-Dixie is gone. Interesting. So now both of them are charged and both of them are looking at life. So they're all both charged with second degree murder, second degree kidnapping, big boy felonies. And let me tell you about something about Chicwanda. She quickly realized, she said, that might be my man. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not doing a life sentence for you, baby. I was riding, but I'm not going to die. She said, I'm going to have to go ahead and bow out. So she said Curtis wasn't worth that life sentence. Shit ain't worth 20 weeks. Shit, first, Curtis ain't worth no time. He ain't worth 10 years. Hell, let's be for real. The man ain't worth a goddamn parking ticket. So anyway, on October 14, 2010, both of them are indicted for second degree murder and kidnapping. And Chicwanda was like, baby, not me. Sis took that plea deal so fast, she probably left skid marks. So she goes ahead, she pleads guilty to second degree kidnapping. They drop the murder charge. She agrees to testify. They offer her 15 years. She said, bet. Now, whether y'all call that snitching, survival, self-preservation, or common sense, I'm going to let y'all debate amongst yourselves on that one. But what she was not about to do was sit in prison forever protecting Curtis' dusty ass. I ain't mad at her. But here's the part that irritated me. Why this man don't go to trial until September 21st of 2015? That is 5 years. For why? For what? The man kidnapped somebody, killed somebody in broad daylight with witnesses. Y'all got the evidence. Y'all have phone records. You have tire tracks. You have a confession from the man's girlfriend and partner. What exactly were we waiting on? I really need to know. So the trial, it lasts 8 days. And at that point, everybody in the courtroom probably knew more about Curtis than his own goddamn family. Because after hearing all the evidence, the jury basically took no time at all. Baby, by noon, they didn't even want to go to lunch. They said, fuck all that. We got things to do, people to see, places to go. And they came back with a unanimous verdict, guilty, not kinda, not maybe, let's think about it some more. No, guilty across the board. And Louisiana basically said, congratulations, enjoy prison forever. Because in Louisiana, second degree murder carries an automatic life sentence. There is no option of parole or early release. The judge literally cannot make any other recommendations. So you are going straight to prison. There's no get out of jail free card. None of that. And you're sentenced to hard labor. Modern day slavery. So, oh boy. So, of course, Curtis is going to appeal. Like, I mean, he tried to file an appeal basically as soon as they sent his ass. They was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you, sir. He tried again. No, thank you, sir. He tried again. Denied. And at some point, Louisiana was basically like, sir, if you don't stop writing us, please leave us alone. So, like I said, he receives life with hard labor, no parole. And I believe that's where he still is. I cannot find that man to save my life in the Louisiana state prison system. I don't know what they got going on, but he might be dead. Shit, I don't know. I can't find him because by now he would be what? That was 16 years ago. He'd be almost 70. Yeah, close to 70. I mean, I don't know. Maybe maybe he there, maybe he ain't. Who cares? I hope he's somewhere being inconvenienced daily. Now, Chicwanda, she served her time. It looks like she was released around 2022. So she got out a couple years early. And honestly, I really hope she's somewhere far away from this mess. The one picture I saw that she posted back in 22, she looks very healthy. So I hope that everything is good for her. Now, we have arrived at the part that made me want to throw myself through a wall. Because remember, this entire thing started because Curtis believed Crystal scammed him, right? Because remember, he's, yelling and hollering and screaming and throwing a tantrum like a 2-year-old in Winn-Dixie about this $300. So, we done been through the yelling, the beating, the kidnapping, the murder, the manhunt, the trial, and the life sentence. Y'all, brace yourselves. Grab your edges. Secure them tightly. Because when I tell y'all this, y'all are going to fall the fuck out. Y'all, there was nothing wrong with that EBT card. The money was on there. Crystal never stole from him. She did not scam that man. She did not play in that man's face. This bubble-faced fool had written the pen down wrong. It was off by one number. He wrote down the pen wrong. Not her. That's it. That's the whole fucking story. He kidnapped this lady, beat her, executed her, destroyed lives and families, went on the run, and got sentenced to prison forever, all because his dumb ass couldn't enter 4 numbers correctly. I was trying so hard not to cuss. I really was. Because what do you mean? This was not a drug deal gone wrong or a robbery or a betrayal. This was not revenge or nothing. The man wrote the fucking pin number down wrong. Crystal never even got the opportunity to tell him because Tweedledum and Dumber were too busy jumping her before she even get a sentence out. Like I said in the very beginning, this literally could have been solved with a, hey, run to the store with us. This lady lost her life, and those children lost their mother. And this stupid ass fool lost his freedom, which he deserves it, all because this walking piece of colostomy bag couldn't type 4 numbers correctly into a machine. I got nothing, because like these cases, they get freaking more ridiculous by the week. Like, this is so freaking unavoidable. I mean, we've covered some bad cases and somebody broke somebody's heart, or, something was justified. You were the fucking dumbass. You fat fingered that shit. This was all you. All you. And like I said, he didn't even give that lady an opportunity to speak. He just snatched her up and killed her. This is really up there in like the top 3 of unnecessary murders, because I just have no words. I got nothing. I really got nothing. Well, yeah. Maybe y'all got some words, cause I got nothing. Okay, so let me move on, because this is stressing me out. So before I go, remember I told y'all I fell down a rabbit hole researching this stupid ass pimple face piece of lint, Curtis. And I told y'all this fool was on death row before, right? I wasn't lying. I promise. This was not Curtis's first murder case. Matter of fact, before Crystal's murder, Curtis had already been convicted and sentenced to death in an entirely different case. And when I discovered that, like I said, I nearly fell out of my chair, because the story behind that case is pretty much as wild as this one. This man got to think about grocery stores. That's all I'm going to say. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drop a bonus episode this week giving y'all all the tea on Curtis. We're going to talk about how this man ended up on death row, how he got off death row, and how he somehow still managed to end up serving a life sentence anyway with his stupid ass. Because if there was ever a man committed to making the worst possible decisions at every turn, it's this nigga Curtis. Now, like I told y'all from the very beginning, VIP got perks. And this is one of them. So that bonus episode is going to be available exclusively for my subscribers. So if you are not subscribed yet, all you got to do, head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and sign up. Very easy. Now, I ain't going to tell y'all exactly what day of the week it is dropping, because, yeah, I got the notes, but I got to write the episode. Yeah. In addition to the regular episode for next week. But just know it is going to be coming this week, and I'm going to surprise y'all, so keep an eye out. And cousins, before y'all go, don't forget to leave one of y'all favorite cousins a 5-star review wherever you are listening. Like I told y'all, 5 stars, only one play about that. And if you have got a grievance, concern, complaint, issue, problem, suggestion, critique, or your spirit simply feels trouble, reach out to me. You know how to find me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Melanin Mysteries Podcast. You can hit me up on the website, melaninmysteries.com. You can also send an email if that's more your ministry, podcast@melaninmysteries.com. And if you are looking for somewhere to come and kiki with the cousins after the episode ends, make sure you join my private Facebook discussion group, Love, Lies, and Alibis, because, baby, the conversations that happen over there, y'all be cutting up, and I love it so much. Now, before we get out of here, it is time for this week's vibe check. This song is Down Ass Bitch by Ja Rule featuring Charlie Baltimore. And honestly, if there was ever a song that fits this case, well, she was down until it was time to, she was down until it was time to ride, but hey, whatever. I wonder if she really held that man down while he was in jail. I wonder if she still write that man. I wonder if they was writing letters back and forth. I would love to know. But speaking of, the vibe check is a perfect way to leave a comment on the episode to help push the episode out. So please drop your answer wherever you are listening: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeart, Pandora, where else am I at? Pandora's, I don't know, just Amazon, wherever. And tell me if the song matched the case. Tell me if it didn't. Tell me what song you would have picked instead. And while you're there, go ahead and leave me a review. 5 stars. And while you're at it, tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell your cousin, tell your baby mama, tell your baby daddy, tell your auntie, tell your uncle, tell your neighbor, tell Curtis's son's baby mama's mama if you happen to know her about Melanin Mysteries. Just spread the word, because the more cousins we bring to the cookout, the better. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I will catch y'all very soon. So until next time, remember, hearts break, but alibis don't.